Hi guys, Amira here. Today I made my all-time favorite vanilla cake, but this time I wanted to try the reverse creaming method, and instead of plain old boring cake color, I decided to play around. The world has been a little grey lately and a little bit of color wouldn't hurt. I think this is the coolest, most colorful thing I have done so far on here. Unlike the traditional creaming method where you start with butter and sugar, this one starts off with the dry ingredients. In a large enough bowl, combine flour, salt, baking powder, baking soda, whisk that, and then tip in 340 grams of your granulated sugar. Mix all of that properly and set aside for a bit. I have to quickly sort out the liquid part. The buttermilk I will have in two parts. To the slightly lesser quantity, I am going to add some neutral tasting oil. Oops, too much. Good thin oil, and this thing doesn't mix. To the other part, I have eggs and some vanilla extract. Gently combine all of that because you realize your bowl is so small and you will spill half of it away if you do not. And now we can get back to the flour mixture. Add your butter to the dry ingredients. No, I don't want you anymore. Found someone better. She's black, sturdier, and the best part is she is whole. With your mixer on low, combine until you have something that looks like wet sand. I didn't listen to my own instructions, so I had a layer of flour dust on my work surface and my hand. Pour in the buttermilk that has oil and mix on medium for good 2 minutes. You know how I keep whining about over mixing, yada yada yada. But this one is quite different. So here is the thing. Water, when mixed with flour, is what activates the gluten. Now, by coating the flour with butter first, as we have done here, you inhibit said gluten from developing. But we still need some of it because without it, this cake will have no structure. So some gluten is good, but not too much. To activate, we need to mix it for that long. Do not do this if you are going through the traditional route. In those 2 minutes, everybody should have gotten to know everybody properly. Scrape down the sides and add your other egg buttermilk mixture a little bit at a time, fully mixing before adding the next bit. We still do not want to overwhelm the batter by tipping in the liquid all at once. Go in one final time with your spatula to make sure we did not leave anybody behind or under. Now this is where things get slightly colorful. Divide your butter into 3 equal parts. This one gave me about 2.5 cups for each bowl, and I'm gonna go with simple red, yellow, and blue. The old spatula is still useful, I guess. Mix the colors properly and transfer to your baking tins. Guys, line with parchment. Don't be like me. Bake in a 175-degree preheated oven anywhere between 22 to 30 minutes. Keep an eye once you reach the 20-minute mark. Remember, no two oven is the same. While those bake, let's make some frosting. Have you ever heard of ermine frosting? It is made with granulated sugar, not confectioner's sugar, flour. Yes, flour, butter, and milk. First is to measure out some sugar and flour. I'm using a saucepan because we are going to cook it, so there is no point measuring another bowl and then transferring. On medium heat, lightly toast the flour and sugar for about 2 minutes, whisking constantly. The cakes are done. I got distracted and the flour thing burned a little bit. If this happens to you, just sieve it out. Not a problem whatsoever. Add your milk, a little at first, and whisk thoroughly to make it into a smooth, thick paste. You have to work really fast. Don't pour the milk all at once, you will end up with lumps. I mean, you could sieve it, but I guess it's just better to pour a little bit at a time. Once all the milk is in, you have to stir constantly. Now is not the time to go pee. So the flour serves as a thickener and eventually you get something this thick. This kind of reminds me of pap. Transfer to a heat-proof bowl, cover with plastic film, and make sure it touches the surface. It has to cook down completely before we use. I am short on time, so it's gonna go in the freezer for 30 to 45 minutes. You can do this a day ahead anyway. The cakes have cooled for about 10 minutes or so in their pans. Transfer to a wire rack to finish off the cooling process. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where you need to learn your tin.
Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know. They're gonna know. How would they know? How would they know?
The cakes have cooled completely. My red or pink cake needs a little trimming because I didn't place it in the oven properly. You know, I think I made the trimming worse. Wonder what happened to the trimmings. I didn't just want to assemble the cake red, blue, and yellow, so I thought to mix and match. I have a bowl and a dough cutter in the sizes I think will be appropriate. Just try to align as best as you can. You could try to measure, find the center and all that jazz, but I will listen to my inner spirit. Do the same for the blue and the yellow, and this yellow is the only properly behaved layer. The others will not just come out with the cutter. Carefully separate the cakes. Some will tear, especially the outermost ring, and it should hopefully come together in the end. At this point, I'm just hoping everybody comes together. This red one is just wayward. Thankfully, I managed to bring them together. To assemble, I have this cake paper thing. I cut it almost the same size as my cake. The first layer is on the paper. I had to drag it somehow. Now back to the first thing. I have almost 500 grams of unsalted butter, and I'm going to mix that for about 2 minutes until it gets slightly pale. A stand mixer will be really good for this job. Add your chilled mixture a little at a time and mix on high speed. We are trying to whip in as much air in this thing as possible. I think this is a sign I'm going to get a stand mixer soon. So this is not as sweet as regular buttercream. I was tired of my friends bickering and telling me, "Oh, Amira, the frosting is too sweet, yada yada yada." So I went searching and I found this. Hopefully, they will be appreciative of my efforts. Keep mixing, add some vanilla extract, a little bit of salt, and because I think it is slightly too thick, I'm going to add my remaining buttermilk. Now this is totally optional, by the way. Mix all of that and set aside. Guys, look what I got. I have a turntable now. I'm so happy. And I'm trying to find a suitable name for her. So anyway, it is time to finally assemble.
Into the thick of it. Into the thick of it. Into the thick of it. Oh.
This is a whole lot better. I don't know why it took so long to get one. Oh, I know. Bro.